Welcome to Sisflix, the podcast where we won't judge you for talking through the movie. Sisflix are the movies you laugh at, yearn for, and overanalyze with your girls, significant others, and now us.
We are your hosts,
Paola
and Nadhya, two sisters and designers who discuss chick flicks we hate to love,
tropes we love to hate,
and all of the aesthetic choices in between. Join us as we break down our favorite movies together.
Hey, sister!
Hey, sister! Here we are, back again to talk about Bridgerton, episode 6 from season 4. Did you know, not you, Paola, but you, listener, that we meant to make episodes 5 and 6 one combo episode?
But we can't shut the fuck up.
Did you know, listener, that Paola had to cut out 20 minutes of me ranting about the government from the last episode? Did you know that? You didn't know that.
While we were talking about mistresses, it was all linked together. Patriarchy and mistressy. Mistressy. Patriarchy and mistressy. Okay. So it was so fascinating. Part of it did make the cut, and you'll know where.
And thank goodness. All right, guys. So we are talking about episode 6, titled The Passing Winter. This episode was directed by Amy McIntyre. It was written by Annabelle Hood and Lauren Gamble, obviously based on the novel by Julia Quinn. If you don't know this by now, what are we doing? With that, let's get into this fucking episode. I don't know if you guys remember how the last one ended. Paola, do you remember?
Oh, you don't remember? Benedict Downing? Benedict doing the Dick Downing? Huh? Did we forget about the Benedict her down? What happened last episode was Benedict her down. Benedict dicked her down.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys caught it from what Paola said, but they did have sex in the last episode. I'll never get over how this show depicts losing your virginity. The way that it doesn't depict it at all.
She did tell him to go slow.
Which he didn't do.
When it's your first time.
That's what happened at the end of the last episode. So we open episode 6 with Sophie and Benedict waking up together in what we can assume is his bed. I'm not gonna lie, this feels like a random ass fucking bedroom. Like, it feels like a bedroom that just happened to be open and then they both just kind of ended up there during Hyacinth's party. There's nothing Benedict loves more than leaving a sibling's party to fuck.
And
that's a thing we discovered in our discussion of the last episode. We were like, wow, he really has left every fucking sibling's party.
Still not worse than leaving in the middle of your shift at the house you work out to go fuck in said house during said shift.
That's wild.
Okay.
And then being like, she'll write me a letter. I'll be able to go work anywhere, Lady Bridgerton.
But you know what it is? The room feels random because it feels like we've never been in Benedict's room. And then when we have seen Benedict in a bedroom, it's been at his bachelor lodgings, right?
And that room feels significantly more like, it just feels like the kind of room where you like go and party and fuck. Like, it doesn't feel like a bedroom where you go to sleep on purpose. That was where we saw Benedict, episode 1 of season 4. Violet Bridgerton walks in on him with like 2 ladies. One of them being Miss Virginia. Not so much a Virginia anymore, but Miss Virginia nonetheless. Back in this, again, random ass feeling room, Sophie wakes up anxious because she needs to get back to being a maid. And Benedict does what my husband and I call the full koala.
Oh, just climbing on Sophie.
He encircles her like a vine. He's like, you're not going anywhere. She starts to hurry around the room getting dressed because she's like, it's like 5. The whole entire sun is streaming through the window, but it's 5 a.m. What time of year is it? Guys, I'm not saying these are pertinent facts. I'm just saying I'm upset. As she's trying to get dressed, picking up her shit, it's all over the floor, she's like berating herself for, quote, falling into bed with a gentleman, end quote, and tells Benedict that just because they slept together, it doesn't mean that she has accepted his offer, and that she very well may have gotten pregnant, and then she'd have no choice but to become his mistress.
Benedict, I don't want to be your mistress, but I'll sleep with you though.
If you think I'm going to criticize her for that, you've never listened to my podcast.
My thing is, for a man that has debauched in the way that Benedict has, is that a
Riddled
word?
with STDs.
You telling me you didn't pull out?
Yeah.
You're telling me your pull-out game is weak? What, were you too lost in the sauce that you forgot? That was irresponsible.
After she says, I might have to become your mistress if I get pregnant, he tells her, hey, baby, that's chill because I love you. And what we did wasn't an accident or in the heat of the moment. It was actually in the very cold of the moment. I planned it all. That he will show her that love is enough.
This was also part of the book where they did have a time. And then she's like, oh my God, I might be pregnant. And then we might have to be together anyway. And then what was all this avoidance for? And
Right. What was the point? I mean, whole time Benedict's like lit. I'm getting everything I want. Anyway, she ends up sneaking out of his room with her dress half done. I'm sorry to be harping on this. It looks like it is 9 a.m. Everyone in that house is awake.
the way I was so anxious. You know what it gives? I was watching this the other day. Made in Manhattan, when she's sneaking out of the hotel room after she spent the night
Bruh.
with the senator guy. Come on now. I was like, oh my God, somebody's going to see her.
She gets back to the servants' quarters unseen. And we see her once she gets back to her room. She's fully, properly dressed in her maid uniform, maid clothing. We see her mark the date in her diary/calendar. And she notes that she has 8 days between then and the expected start of her period. Not a great time to have unprotected sex if you don't
To
want a
lose
child.
your inhibitions.
And feel the rain on your skin. Only you can let it in. How many times do we think that I've made that reference on this podcast?
At least every other episode. I think.
That song is so fucking iconic. It's not my fault. After that, we get the title card. Cut from the title card to Penelope having tea with Lady Danbury, talking about how her approach with the Queen that we saw in episode 5 wasn't super successful, regarding her wanting to leave Lady Whistledown behind. And Lady Danbury is once again wearing like a super dark blue masculine looking gown with like a flat topped hat. She looks incredible. All of these like deep, rich jewel tones look so good on her. And Lady Danbury tells Penelope that the Queen always wants to be in control. She wants to be the one guiding the pen. The pen, the Penelope. I'm joking. You kind of have to make her the way that we often have to do with men in a corporate setting. You have to make her believe it was her idea.
Yes. Men in a corporate setting. Men everywhere. Men all of the time.
On Earth, we see Lady Danbury and Alice Mondrich in the palace with the Queen. And Lady Danbury tells the Queen that Miss Hollis was unfortunately not the girl for Benedict. She wasn't the lady in silver. The Queen asks if there's anyone else, right? Like, do we, who's on the roster? And Alice is like, damn girl, that's so crazy, I don't know. Alice does in fact know. But what she's doing is being true to her lower class roots and not ratting out the fucking maid that Benedict is with. Because not only did she overhear them, you can assume, begin to fuck, but she overheard their shouting argument where they were like, I love you too. Like,
and I think the conscious decision to not say anything is driven by the fact that a maid like Sophie isn't going to have the same protection as somebody of society. Matter of fact, she's probably not going to care. She's like, I don't care. That's not somebody he can marry, so it doesn't matter to me.
Don't bring it up.
It would be useless information at best, and at worst, it would ruin Sophie's reputation.
And the Queen is clearly displeased with this news. We cut to the front of the Penwood house, where the staff is all lined up. Again, this is like very reminiscent, right, of I believe it was episode 2, where we get a little bit of Sophie's backstory and find out about Penwood House and the nice, plentiful staff that was there before the Lady Penwood moved in. We're back in a similar scene where the staff is now lined up to meet the new Lord and Lady Penwood, who Lady Whistledown knows nothing about. We see like a very sweet-looking Asian man wearing an outfit with like pink accents. He exits a carriage, and what we see shot from like a pretty abnormal angle from above, meant to obscure the face of the new Lady Penwood, is an impatient pink satin gloved hand waving at him from inside the carriage.
Take my hand.
For him to take her hand and help her out. Who is the new Lady Penwood? I bet we all have a bunch of ideas. Don't worry. If you keep listening, you'll find out. And
because you haven't seen the episode.
Because you haven't watched this show at all.
Brand new information to everyone.
I'm so surprised, you guys. As they exit the carriage and they're walking into the home, we see Alfie and Mrs. Timmons giving each other what looks to be a hopeful glance. We cut to Anthony and Kate in the main bedroom at Aubrey Hall, back from India. And they're both like handling and like cuddling with what has to be maybe planet Earth's most beautiful baby ever.
Oh, they're so cute in this scene. When we first see them in season 3, when we first come across them, we also pan to them in bed together while he's rubbing Kate's belly.
Yeah.
And like he can't wait for the baby. And then now in this season, they do almost the exact same shot, but it's with baby Edmund already sitting up on the bed and they're like with him and cooing. It's so cute. Also, how do you find a baby that has Kate's exact eyes?
Oh my God, that baby's so beautiful. As they're cuddling with their baby, having a very beautiful, lazy morning in Aubrey Hall, we find out Anthony is heading back to London a few days ahead of Kate. We cut to breakfast at the Sterling house, where Michaela and John are already seated at the table, as Michaela muses on what their mothers must be doing back in Scotland. And she's basically like, I bet my mother is telling like a long story about how she used to do dumb shit with your father when they were kids. And your mother will be silent, pretending to listen. And that's exactly what happens as she's talking to John, because he is thinking about his wife, Francesca. John brings up that he was feeling stressed about the altercation the night before during their soiree for Michaela, when she ambushed Michaela with like a man who was interested in talking to her, even though John had very clearly said Michaela was not looking for suitors. She wants to be a spinster. Please leave her alone. And John was wondering if they were ever going to really get along and become friends. And that's something that was causing him some anxiety. And Michaela doesn't answer. And at that moment, Francesca happens to enter the room, seeming like happier and looser than we've ever seen her, including with her own family, talking about how Michaela kept her up late. Girl, I bet she did. And drew her into a drinking game that involves making fun of their other guests.
And I think it's for the first time you're seeing Francesca late to something. She's suddenly like late to breakfast because she overslept or is hungover, got up later than Michaela and John. That's a little, I guess, like a little foreshadowing to how Michaela's influence helps Francesca maybe shift her perspective or become more relaxed, I guess, in a way.
It seems like John's style of love is like conforming to Francesca's structure and rigidity. And what we can assume will become Michaela's style is reforming that structure and rigidity, like blending it and then changing it entirely. We know that one way or another, it will become a relationship between Francesca and, in the book, who is Michael Sterling. Obviously in the show is Michaela Sterling. His personality, at least in the book, as we see in the show, is completely opposite from John's personality. It doesn't keep them from getting along and being very close, but it makes for two very different experiences, I feel like of love. So that's something to keep an eye on for next season. But John watches them and asks outright, "Are you two friends now?" They both answer like, duh, of course.
Are you being cousins?
Are you being sisters? Are you friends? And it's like, bitch, get with the program, okay? I thought you were smart. You're in Parliament. So,
duh.
Duh.
So it's even very cute the way that Francesca answers, because she answers almost in like this playful kind of teasing way now. Now she's teasing John. Oh, you out here teasing people? Okay.
Where
she's
we're making jokes?
Duh.
From that breakfast scene, we cut to the study where Benedict is giving his valet rapid fire instructions on where to invest their money. These little asides in shows like this always tickle me because Benedict is like, coal seems like a dirty business. Invest in copper instead, which I thought was goofy. And he also is like responding to social calls. Like, he got laid and he was like, I think I could be president. Like, he's just doling out the fucking commands here. And even the valet is like, you're killing it, girl.
Mood.
10 out of 10. You're killing it, girl. Baddest out your friends. Oh, you killing it, girl.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's so annoying when they do this, when it's like, oh, the person who like just got some is suddenly like super productive and they're doing great. It's like, all right, my whole personality didn't change from a nut. I'm promise. Like,
Oh my God.
all he needed to be super Viscount was a little
Bust a nut. And the crazy thing is, he has been fucking this whole time. So this specific
because
one,
it's not about the activity. It's about the person.
it's about the company. Ooh.
It's about the company.
Benedict mentions to the valet that he wants to contact the Crabtrees and let them know to start getting his house, also known as my cottage, ready for permanent residence. And the valet's like, okay, queen. Cut to Sophie in the servants area of Bridgerton House, where she is doing some mending. And when Celia and Hazel come in and they're like, oh, hey girl, are you feeling better? And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, oh, the other night you said you weren't feeling well, like when we went to the tavern. And Sophie's like, I've been fucking. No. And we see Sophie continue to mark days off of her calendar with building anxiety. From there, we cut to Violet. She is wearing baby blue Bridgerton blue. And she is in the drawing room with Lord Anderson drinking tea. And she's talking about how she doesn't know how Benedict found out about their relationship, but that she's obviously very anxious about it. And Lord Anderson tells her that the younger kids don't have a clue, and that if she's feeling so badly about them, quote, conducting an affair in her family home, end quote, they could just, like, get engaged and get married.
Hello, that solves all our
Hello.
problems. Hello. Or go over to his house.
Literally, do anything else. As they're talking about this, they're interrupted by Mrs. Wilson, who announces that Violet is being called upon by the Dowager Lady Penwood and her daughters, and that they're being called on for the third time that week. And Lord Anderson very graciously takes his leave. He's like, hey, third time this week, you got to attend to her, giving Violet a very lingering kiss on the back of her hand. Lady Bridgerton ultimately agrees to see the Lady Penwood.
This bitch.
Bruh. Oh, this shit is crazy. She is so fucking unpleasant.
In just life. Like, not even to people she dislikes.
Miserable.
Like, yes, miserable.
They settle into the drawing room, and Lady Bridgerton asks Araminta, Dowager Lady Penwood, how she's liking her new home, which is the home right fucking next door to Bridgerton House. Lady Penwood says it's adequate. She says, quote, your second son called upon my Rosamond not too long ago, end quote. Imagine if Violet's second son had a name. And Lady Bridgerton is like, yeah, lol, totally. Anyway, girl, that's crazy.
He calls upon a lot of people.
Yeah, nah, he just be out here. And on the other side of the drawing room, we see Hyacinth trying to make conversation with the Penwood girls, right? Posy and Rosamond. Posy's pretty awkward, and Rosamond is downright unpleasant. And the sisters immediately get into an argument about Posy eating another biscuit because Rosamond's like, mother's not gonna like you eating another biscuit. I don't fucking like them, except Posy. She's the only one, say it with me, who's worth a damn. And Hyacinth and Eloise are literally watching them like argue, like whisper fight. And then they look at each other like horrified. They're still beefing, by the way, but they're able to unify.
Kind of like, oh, at least we're not that bad.
Exactly.
Like, it could be worse. We could have a worse relationship.
We could be like that.
And we're not. And maybe I'm a little grateful for that.
Eloise tries to talk to Hyacinth, and she's still getting ignored. And some of us would say deservedly so. And we see Lady Penwood discussing the, quote, maid wars with Lady Bridgerton as Sophie walks into the drawing room and notices who the guests are, because she makes eye contact with Posy before turning around and immediately exiting the room. Violet, who's a smart lady, catches the expression on Sophie's face right as she turns around and notices that Araminta is there before she Usain Bolts out of that room, okay? Posy coughs in surprise. I don't know. Everybody's like, Posey, what the fuck? Because I guess you're not allowed to cough like in England. And she says
she coughed too loud. You gotta cough quieter.
That's what you know what, you're right. And she didn't
it
apologize
wasn't a
enough.
delicate cough.
And she says that she's eating the biscuit and that it tickled her dry throat, and that's why she coughed. And Araminta uses this opportunity to be a bitch, but also to say that she once had a maid who baked the most perfectly buttery biscuits that were never dry. I don't believe you. But that she had to dismiss her for having, quote, aspirations above her station, end quote. And I want to put that on a t-shirt for me. I continually have aspirations above my station. And that she also let her go because she stole a pair of diamond shoe clips from her. Very important, very necessary shoe clips. She doesn't hesitate to name her. She's like, Sophie Beck! Sophie Beck! Like, she's screaming her name in the street, Sophie Beck. Lady Bridgerton has completely schooled her expression and does not betray anything to Lady Penwood. She gestures to Mrs. Wilson, and Footman John announces that Lady Bridgerton's got another visitor coming, effectively cutting the visit with the Penwood short. She's got a system.
That was so smooth.
Was
so smooth because doesn't react at all to what Lady Penwood is saying. Literally just nods at Mrs. Wilson. Mrs. Wilson looks at Footman John. Then he comes and like announces a visitor.
We cut from the Bridgerton drawing room to Sophie pacing in her bedroom when Lady Bridgerton comes knocking. And Lady Bridgerton enters Sophie's room, and already her air is kind of like, okay, girl.
Let's get on the same level.
The jig is up.
Yeah.
Jig is up, cat's out of the bag, any other idiom you can think of. Like, we're coming clean. We're telling the truth.
She's like, I wanted to make sure you're okay after seeing your former employer, is how she starts off the conversation. And you're like, ooh.
Genius. Smooth as fuck. She's never been this smooth in any other thing in her life ever. Yeah, she wanted to check in on Sophie. And I think that's also very telling that her first priority was Sophie's well-being. Because even through her very brief experience of Sophie, she has a very distinct vision of who she is. And she's just like, Lady Penwood said some really shitty stuff. I don't think it's true. It doesn't really like matter to me. Like, all I know is like my experience of you, which is that you're a great maid, a great worker. You're really decent. My family loves you. So,
and her experience of Lady Penwood, which is that she's mean, a terrible person.
A bitch. And she even says, she's like, I always found Lady Penwood to be very cruel.
And she's like, you know, she even tried to say that you took some shoe clips.
And Sophie's like, she's right.
I did, but I didn't.
Yeah. If anything, I think in Lady Bridgerton's eyes, that like added to her credibility. That she was just like, I didn't mean to, but they weren't diamonds at all. Like, they were fake. And Lady Bridgerton's like, girl, I don't care about that.
She said something like, I don't care about her, like her gaudy shoe clips. Like, she knew they were terrible and tasteless. And
Violet Bridgerton is the bomb diggity. She's coming to check on Sophie, her well-being. Also to confirm, I'm looking at you eye to eye. Like, we both know who you are. We both know kind of what's going on here now. We both have most of our information. But she tells Sophie, listen, they're living next door to us, and she seems fucking determined to find you. I know you asked me for a letter. I'll give you one because I honestly don't know if you can keep working here in such close proximity to them and still be like comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
I recommend you go out to the country. I don't think staying in London is going to work out for you based on all of the shit that she's talking. I wish you the best. Sophie's just left kind of like, oh, fuck. She's got her letter of introduction, though, so she wasn't lying to Alfie. I just don't know if she'll be able to take that to work at the Penwood house again, because everything seems to be a little rough.
So what we assume is the next day, Anthony has arrived. Mm-hmm. Anthony arrives. Everybody's so happy to see him. And she immediately gets down to business because apparently she had written him a letter at Aubrey Hall.
Ooh.
And it's like, I need help with your brother. He's not listening to me. And then Anthony meets with his brothers at White's, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. And he literally gets right to it. He sees that like Benedict isn't drinking too much. And Benedict's like, oh, I'm just trying to keep a clear head. Anthony's like, are you clear-headed? And Benedict's like, yeah, actually, in fact, I feel, better than ever. And Anthony replies like, oh yeah, is that because of your fraternization with our younger sister's ladies maid?
Jesus.
Oh my God. And Benedict, best comeback, is like, well, if you wish to compare apples to opera singers. I was like, oh shit. Oh, he went there. Yes, let's remind
Get his
Anthony the bullshit he was on in season 1.
And in the timeline of the story, that was only 3 years prior.
He's like, he tries to be like, oh, that's different because it wasn't in my family's home. Okay, got you. You were doing it in your own bachelor lodgings. Or in her lodgings that you paid for with the family money. But then he's like, plus I had like the good sense to like end it. No, motherfucker. Didn't. We all remember she's the one that ended it with you.
You were getting ready to upend your life.
You were getting ready to pick her up and take her to the ball. And that bitch was like, you know what? I changed my mind. You're not going to be the one that's going to provide for me. I'm not going to be
like, I don't trust you.
I don't trust your wishy-washy ass.
Yeah.
You didn't end the dalliance. It was ended for you. He just hits him with, I thought I was in love too. And I thought that this would be the person. And it didn't end up being that way. Mm-hmm. Telling Benedict like, oh, you'll know. You'll find someone.
You'll find someone. It doesn't have to be this person.
That's when Benedict's like, I'm a grown-ass man and I know my mind. Sometimes Benedict is, I don't want to say he's unaware, but right, we were talking about like the disparity in wealth. I don't know that Benedict has considered what happens if that wealth is stripped from him because of the decision he's made. Mm-hmm. Because he's only looked at this from the perspective of uplifting Sophie to be with him, bringing up Sophie and maintaining her and setting her up. He's counting on having all the same resources he has right now and still being able to choose Sophie, right? This mindset that he's able to have a mistress and not feel any real consequences. In this scene, what Anthony does say that he does have a point on is, dude, you're giving up this life. Like, this isn't, oh, you can have her and you can't have your cake and eat it too. Are you aware of the life you're going to be choosing? Are you aware of the position you're putting yourself in and your future family in if you are going to pursue this seriously? Mm-hmm. Because now Anthony's making it known that you're not going to have access to the resources you have now if you choose this route. I think we can all watch that and be like, oh, wow, he's fucked up for that. But what he's being is honest. Like, this is the society we live in and you're not going to be accepted. You're going to be shunned.
And unless you want to ruin the futures of our sisters who are left to get married, our brother who's left to get married, basically, I have to draw you out of the family. Like, we have to kick you out.
Eventually, that's where the conversation leads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me, would you kick me out if I fell in love with a maid? It's Footman John. Would you kick me out?
Footman John?
Like, we ain't shit.
If this was us,
en esa época,
I would be like, girl, just do your shit on the DL. But then that's messed up. That's messed up.
And then
right?
I get
pregnant. That's not what you want. You want to live openly.
That shit's mad immaculate.
Obviously, what Anthony's saying is enraging, right? But he's right. He's right. He has a point based on this patriarchal society they choose to uphold. What irked me was the way Benedict exited this conversation, and I understand he's pissed off, but he kind of lashes out at Anthony. It's like, well, thank God you're here to like fix everything.
To save the day.
And with your heir, no less. And it was like,
ew. When has Benedict ever had beef with a baby?
Since when has this heir thing been a problem? I don't know. Maybe it's never been a problem because it never came up. This is the first time Anthony's had a baby. But I don't know. It's almost like, again, we're going back to like, why are we pretending like he would have wanted to be Viscount or would have wanted to inherit after Anthony? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's always rejected that.
And we talked about this before. I think we talked about this when we discussed episode 4. Like, we discuss this pretty much anytime we get down into like the nitty gritty of Benedict's character and how some of these things feel so kind of incongruous with like the way that they've set it up. Like, we're beefing with a baby now, right? Because a baby's an heir. But like, if anything, it's like he should be relieved. The same way that Anthony in season 1 was very ready to give Benedict his obligations and like DK leave his family. What I would have expected was for Benedict to be like, ooh, finally, hell yeah.
Yeah, relief.
Yes.
That's what I would have expected. Oh, Anthony's back. I don't have to do this shit anymore. You know what, though, also, as like a fellow ADHDer, a fellow person who spends their life dabbling, if I don't succeed in any other of my ventures, I have this one concrete thing that I do that when I'm asked, what do you do? Oh, I buy count.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're supposed to interpret this as like the thing that anchors him to a role. This is the thing that gave him purpose in the family. And now that he doesn't have it, what's his role?
Maybe it's less about his position in the family. It's his position with himself. What am I doing? What's the point? Now it feels like it's becoming more externalized rather than internalized, because it's almost like now he's like, well, my new purpose is to love Sophie.
And take care of her.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with my family, like, because now he's beefing with his mom. He's beefing with his brother. He's beefing with a baby.
Him and Eloise haven't had a chat in a while.
Gone to the garden and sat on the swings in God knows how long.
Okay. So maybe we're meant to see like that internal battle externalized. The last thing he says in that conversation with Anthony, I think is also significant, which is, you know, I'm going to go take care of the people that I love. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to sum up what draws Benedict. I think that we've talked about that a lot, right? He's always there for his family.
Mm-hmm. Unless they're having a big party.
Unless they're having a party, guys. He leaves if you're having a party.
Okay. You don't have eyes on Benedict. He's gone.
No, he's out. But when his presence is needed, he's there and he's supportive. That last line, I think, kind of encompasses.
Right. What he feels his motivation and purpose is.
Exactly, yes. Which is being needed by the people he loves. That's kind of what Viscounting gave him, in a sense. Like, oh, the people I love need me in this way. Mm-hmm. And then once that's kind of taken away, in a sense, because Anthony's back and he's back with an heir, then it's Sophie needs me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, again, then don't show him resenting Viscounting in the beginning. You know what I mean? Because maybe I'm dumb and I'm not reading his character correctly.
First of all, if anyone's going to be dumb here about a character, both of us know damn well it's not going to be you. It's going to be me.
It's going to be me. Sorry.
Don't be. We then see Sophie in her quarters, worriedly marking off days in her personal calendar, counting down to when she is meant to get her period. And at this point, the tension in her is almost like, do you want to get it or do you not? Do you want to be pregnant or do you not? From there, we cut to Penelope and Lady Featherington, who are in Penelope's bedroom, as Penelope is writing something with a quill. This is probably like the most comfortable and familiar we've ever seen Penelope and Lady Featherington. Like, they're chilling.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is kind of nice.
Like, they're kind of like...
I haven't forgiven Lady Featherington's crimes.
I know. But, like, based on how we've seen their relationship.
Sure.
Like, even in the beginning, where you're seeing Lady Featherington, like, wanting to be involved in the gossip, especially after Volley. She's looking to Chimia and she can't, so... It kind of forces her to rely on Penelope, which is kind of not a terrible thing because you never really seen them
have a good relationship.
So seeing her like sitting on Penelope's bed while Penelope's writing and she's like, girl, so do you know anything about this? Do you know anything about that? She's just trying to get information, but you've not seen them like that even in the previous season. So I thought that was kind of cute.
That is reminding me a lot of the Queen. How the Queen is like so reluctant to let Lady Danbury go because that's like her main bitch. Varley was Featherington's main bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
And she fucked it up.
Yeah. And you can see it in Portia's like frustration because she's not getting the gossip she wants. She's like asking Ray, like, Ray, so do you know anything about this? And Ray's like, girl, I'm doing my job.
I'm a makeup artist. I do not know what you're talking about.
And Portia's frustrated, like, what are you good for? Like, you have no information to give me.
Lady Featherington is lamenting that Penelope's maid, Ray, an OG, isn't much of a gossip. Mm-hmm. Also, if there's anyone who wants a maid that does not gossip, it's Lady fucking Whistledown.
Well, let me counter you for a second. But Portia, she says something along the lines of like, you're not really getting as much gossip. Penelope goes, it's just nobody quite has the knack for gossip that Varley had. pointing to the fact that a lot of the gossip they would get was because of Varley. She had access to this gossip because Varley would be out in the markets,
in the streets,
talking to people, and out in these streets talking to people.
Still didn't want to give that bitch a raise. Wow.
So there you see another value that Varley brought into the Featherington home. Another value to Lady Whistledown herself, Penelope. A lot of the gossip that she was able to acquire was through Varley.
Maids and overhearing maids in general. And isn't that so interesting, you guys? How Penelope, a woman of the upper class, even though she was doing revolutionary work, most of it was upheld by the labor, mostly unpaid, of women of lower classes. Isn't that so interesting? I don't know. That's something to think about. Anyway. So, Lady Featherington, amidst all of this, right, points out that Lady Whistledown hasn't written anything about the new Lord and Lady Penwood, who have just moved into Penwood House. And Penelope does not seem very enthusiastic about, quote-unquote, reporting on them. She mentions that Varley was very gossipy and obviously got all the tea steaming hot. And Lady Featherington is like, girl, don't even mention her name to me. ... Have you seen her around town at all? Girl, stand up. You did this to yourself. You're so embarrassing. Like, Varley left because of you. You couldn't pay her fucking 10 more nickels or whatever the fuck people used to pay for work back then. Like, what are we talking about? In 20 years, hadn't given that bitch a raise. Instead, give her some nasty motherfucking dresses the color of mustard. I'm unable.
That's why she left.
And that's the real love story of season 4. No, I'm joking.
Yes.
Before Penelope really has a chance to answer about whether or not she's seen Varley around, Ray comes in to announce that Penelope has a visitor and is interrupted by Lady Featherington, who reprimands her for not announcing the identity of the visitor. Bitch, you interrupted her. You didn't let her say shit. And who is the new Lady Penwood, ladies and gentlemen? Folks, it is Cressida motherfucking Cowper. And I know that there is video evidence of this because Paola filmed us watching the show, but our reactions to this reveal...
Well, first, as soon as I saw the arm pop out of the carriage at the beginning of the episode,
wiggling fingers,
pink glove, I said, oh my God, that's Cressida.
Correct.
And Nadja's like, no. And I'm like, yo, I heard that she would be in this season. That pink glove could be none other than Cressida. This moment when freaking Cressida turns around, we're like, oh my God.
Guys.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. With the bows, I felt overwhelmed right away. This dress gave me season 3 PTSD.
This dress could have given me a stroke. Like, this dress was so awful and bad. And it's not because it was designed awful and bad. The designers behind the wardrobes in Bridgerton are like some of the best fucking wardrobe designers in the game, costume designers. But like, holy fuck, that dress is meant to do something to your psyche. Like, it is meant to mess with you because it's bright pink, shaped like a Dorito.
It really is.
Where the triangular parts are going up and the point is going down. And it's got like 10 bright pink layered bows, one on top of the other, creating an illusion of a V neckline that terminates at the bust. And it's so awful. And I hate it. And something that I could not help but notice, especially when we see Cressida a handful of times throughout the rest of the season, the shit they put in her hair, oh my God. But her dresses give me a very almost like a Joan Crawford, like a 1940s strong ass shoulder, tiny little waist. Like, they put so much emphasis on her shoulders and her sleeves, her upper arms, her necklines. It's a very 40s feeling influence to me. There was a little bit of the surrealism of why would the fuck do you need that many bows layered on top of each other? That was giving me almost like a little Schiaparelli. It was feeling very 40s.
It makes me think of a couple of things. This specific dress, but in a lot of the dresses we do see here, they do have this strong shoulder, right? And I think what we're meant to see there is this illusion of power, this illusion of stature. That's what the big shoulders are supposed to communicate. Power, strength. You're meant to see this illusion of power, yet all the frilly, pinkish isn't meant to communicate the delicacy of that power. What I found interesting when I saw this dress and all the bows, and when you mentioned like how big the shoulders are. When you look at the silhouette of the dress, you got this big shoulder, tiny waist, and then the skirt goes out. She herself is a bow. If
Oh my
you
God.
think of the silhouette of this dress.
Oh my God, you're so right.
What I get here also is like, who is Cressida? Think about when we finally saw her home in season 3, how dark.
Looked like a
And
jail.
when we talked about it in the episode, to us it looked like a cage.
And Cressida's
right?
a bird.
And Cressida, with all these feathers and everything that she was wearing throughout season 3, it was so symbolic of like a bird who's caged up. Here we're seeing her free, doing her thing, nobody stopping her, and she chooses fun, frilly pink bows. It's literally the equivalent of the invitation that we see in this episode.
Oh my God.
You had her closed up, caged up, and as soon as she was let out, it's just like poof, confetti,
Shit everywhere.
pink
Glitter.
bows.
It definitely does not seem like her husband is running anything.
She is dressing that man. I'm trying to remember if we see him again, but the first impression we got of him in his pink frills, she is dressing that man. So
back in Penelope's home, right? We're still in the scene with Cressida, motherfucking Cowper. Why is she visiting Lady Whistledown? Why is she visiting Penelope? She's basically asking for her to ease her transition back into the London ton as the new Lady Penwood by writing favorably about her in her scandal sheet. She wants to give Penelope an exclusive, like the bitch is writing People magazine, okay? Like, she's trying to be like, hey, I've got the hot tea, and I'll only give it to you. Make me look good. She, quote unquote, apologizes for her wild ass behavior in season 3. And Penelope, much like me.
And 2 and 1.
Well, even before that, because she was a fucking bully. Penelope seems incredibly unconvinced. Cressida also invites Penelope to her first ever ball that she is throwing as Lady Penwood with a comically intricate invitation in the style of a pop-up book. Who made the invites? How long did they take? How much did they cost? What an egregious use of your resources, okay?
Who cut up all the confetti?
Who cut up the confetti? Lord Penwood must be absolutely rolling in money. He must be taking baths in gold coins. What the fuck do you mean those are your invitations? Anyway, it's fine. I'm fine. We cut from that scene to the servants' area in Bridgerton House, where Sophie is sitting at a table folding napkins and linens. She is looking queasy. She is looking not good. Hazel comes by and asks her how she's doing. Sophie just gives like a non-answer. And Hazel's basically like, okay, bitch, like, who are you with? Who are you fucking? Stop beating around the bush. Because Hazel's like, girl, I'm not going to judge you. You can just tell me what's good. And Sophie's like kind of freaking out and is very sharply like, I don't know what you're talking about. No. Hazel's like totally unflappable. She's like, okay, queen, whatever you say. Anyway, I'm going to go hang out near wherever Footman John is because that's my man.
That's my boo.
That's my man. And then she leaves. Cut to the Mondrich home where Alice is pacing back and forth as Will reads the newspaper. Something that I'm like very interested in this season is Will's expression of leisure as a character.
Yeah.
It's just a real, like, organic calming down where he went from being a boxer to then trying to have his bar, giving up the bar because society was not accepting of it. And then now it's like true, just gentleman shit, also known as doing nothing. So I'm very curious with where this will go in season 5, right? Like if they keep being kind of like important secondary characters, how do they evolve Will's role and how he reconciles his leisure?
Yeah, because he had a really hard time with that.
Exactly. In season 2 and 3, and then we get very little of an examination of his leisure in season 4.
You're focused on Alice's journey becoming a lady in waiting, and you see like his support of that.
He calls Alice out for being anxious and acting weird. She says that she's tired of standing still and waiting for direction from other people on what to do, when to speak, who to spy on, clearly alluding to her obligations from the Queen. And not only that, but also her kind of like direction from Lady Danbury. He holds up his hands and asks her to punch, boxer style. And he tells her that she can't wait to get to the front of the line, that she has to make her own way and not expect permission. Not expect permission from anybody, and this kind of tacitly includes the queen. She catches him off guard with a hard punch to his hand. Ha 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 ha. Very cute. I like the Modriches.
It is very cute. I love here how we get a glimpse of their roots, of where they started when we started the series, and kind of remind us like, oh, this is who Will Mondrich is. This hard worker who's always had to fight for what they have. They've always had to fight for what they have. And then obviously they were given this opportunity through this, you know,
random inheritance.
And so he's kind of reminding her, no, you have to fight for your place.
Yeah. From that very sweet scene with the Mondriches, we cut to Benedict's valet knocking on Sophie's door in her servant quarters to fetch her.
Weird, right?
This was super weird.
Well, like, did somebody let you in? Did you sneak up here?
He's also staff.
Right, he's Benedict's staff, so I guess he would be considered like family staff.
Yeah, when you're here, you're family. But he leads her. He like goes to like fetch her and then leads her to like a Bridgerton like greenhouse, orangery place, something. And it's all very like magical and ethereal, because there's so many fucking plants and vines in this like gorgeous half indoor, half outdoor area. But Benedict is waiting there for Sophie, surrounded by candles and covered in like lavish blankets.
It's beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
So romantic.
It's a very romantic blanket fort. He presents Sophie with a sketch of my cottage and tells her that he has contacted the Crabtrees so that they can start making arrangements for him and Sophie to live there permanently. Quote, away from prying eyes, end quote. And Sophie asks about his obligations to his family and his obligations in society. And he explains that he plans to travel back and forth as needed. And even though it isn't ideal, isn't that better than not being together at all?
Also, did you notice that he wrote on the drawing our cottage?
Oh, gross.
Instead
No, I
of
didn't
my
notice
cottage.
that. That's so sweet.
Sweet.
That's very sweet. And Sophie says, you know, we barely know each other, except fucking carnally, you know, his body. He says that he wants to learn every little thing about her. And this turns into a conversation about how Benedict has never really cared for the rules of society because he finds them stifling. Sophie says that he must, quote, care for the little man, end quote. And he replies that, quote, society makes little men of us all, end quote.
Ooh, that's a bar.
Bars. Meaning that the rules of society, as they know it, take away people's agency and independence. And what he wants to be, you guessed it, guys, say it with me, is a libertarian. He doesn't want to pay taxes or have you up in his business. I'm so sorry. So I understand what he's saying. Like, this part of society, it's almost like the higher rank or higher class you are, the more stifling it is. So he doesn't want society to dictate what he should do or how he should look or who he should love. Happy Pride. He tells Sophie that he's had feelings for women in the town as well as men that he has known intimately, and he refuses to be ashamed of that. And good for him. Happy Pride. Her reaction to this is like incredibly even-keeled and kind and nice, and she's just like, there's nothing wrong with an abundance of love, and the world needs more of it. Love is always something to be proud of.
Very sweet line.
For
very
sure.
for the audience.
Very for the audience. I felt so pandered to.
Yes. This
I'm not saying I'm mad about
exchange
it.
would never exist in this time period. But we understand we're watching a fantasy show. But this definitely wouldn't be the language in which they would
Express that.
no.
Sophie was 5 seconds away from saying love is love. Like,
Love is love. Hashtag
hashtag
love is love.
hashtag rainbow flag.
Sophie's not unfamiliar. Sophie's
Right.
best friend is Alfie.
Exactly.
She's not unfamiliar
Yeah.
with queerness or queer men. So it is very on brand for her to hear Benedict express this and for her not to feel
for her to be spiritually a New Yorker and mind her own fucking business.
And be open and accepting.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the inclusion of this conversation in a sense that it's also the show letting the audience know just because we gave Benedict a female partner
doesn't mean we're erasing his queerness.
Yes, he might have fallen in love with a woman. That doesn't erase his queerness.
Benedict says he loves her and plans to give her the kind of life where she won't have to work anymore and where they can be together, even if they can't get married because of society's dumb fucking rules. Sophie starts to spiral a little bit about Benedict and how he could change his mind once Sophie has basically committed her entire life to him. And yes, 1000%, very valid thing to fucking spiral about. And he's a little bit dismissive because he's like, do you really think I would do that? And she's like, yes, bitch, I do. You know why I do? Because I am illegitimate. And now the realization dawns on Benedict as Sophie tells him that her mother was a maid and her father was a nobleman like Benedict. Quote, my very existence in this world is a shameful secret, end quote. That line is like really gorgeous, especially as they were just talking about like Benedict's queer identity. I think the juxtaposition between her illegitimacy, lack of legitimacy, and Benedict's queerness could have been so much sharper if we had a little bit more focus. Like, that could have been such a good parallel between them. Here are two people choosing to live whatever type of life in spite of society, right? Benedict's queerness, Sophie's lack of legitimate parentage. But I think this is the most of that we get.
Yeah. It really is.
Which was disappointing because I was like, oh, that was good.
I mean, what we do get at the beginning is kind of like this living in fantasy versus living in reality,
yes,
which they both were experiencing, right? Him with the fascination of the lady in silver and him also kind of avoiding his responsibilities.
Right.
And then her physically pretending to be somebody else.
As Sophie makes it clear, Benedict tells her, quote, I may not be able to make you my wife, but I will be bound to you in every way that counts, end quote. And I don't know. I don't like every way that counts. I like papers with signatures on them.
He's just asking her to trust him. For Sophie, that's one of the hardest things you can ask her to do because everyone that she's was meant to trust in her life has let her down.
Yeah.
And you can even see the skepticism in her face.
I feel like Sophie's feeling the generational weight of I've heard this before.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending.
And I didn't like the yes, exactly. Truly.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like Benedict is too smart to be this flippant. Maybe I'm making him better in my head, but I ascribe so much more emotional intelligence to him than this. It feels like he's being very naive.
I don't know that he's being flippant. Maybe naive. Naive in that love is enough. If we just love each other this much,
if we just have an abundance of love, if we're just proud of our love,
exactly.
Happy Pride.
Love is love.
If love is just love, you guys. Yeah.
Yes, definitely a bit of naivety and just hopefulness, which is really nice to see after you've seen him like so down in the dumps for the first half of this season. But that's like this fantasy, right? And that as long as you can just love, you'll get through anything. And yeah, that might be what your mom has been preaching to you forever, but she meant with people with your same resources and
status.
Love conquers all as long as we all have money.
Love conquers all conditionally, not unconditionally.
Yes.
Benedict also tells Sophie that if they ever had a child, that child would only feel love and that they would be a family. And he says he'll find a solution to their situation with his family and somehow in society. Yeah, it'll be fine. I'm a Bridgerton. She returns to her room swooning over this drawing, right, of our cottage. Her face falls as she looks over to her calendar and gets closer to when she's meant to be getting her period. We cut from there to the Queen's Palace, where we see her open the crazy ass pop-up book invitation from Cressida to her Lady Penwood ball. The Queen is like grumbling about planning to not attend, right? Because she's just like, ugh, did she forget everything that happened last year? And it's like, I don't know, the viewer kind of forgot. It's been 2 years. She's like, I got to teach her a lesson after all that shit she did. I don't want to go to her fucking ball. And Alice Mondrich is like, you know what? Here's my moment to help the Queen be a petty bitch. You know what you can do? You can RSVP yes. Like, you can pretend to go. She'll tell everyone, oh my God, the Queen's coming, you guys. And they'll all believe her. And then at the last minute, you can fucking bail. Cancel on her ass for maximum impact. And the Queen is like, ooh, that's mean. And I love it. Anyway, don't speak unless you're spoken to next time. That was crazy. And from there, we're back in the Bridgerton drawing room where Penelope, Eloise, Francesca, Hyacinth, Violet, and the newly returned Viscountess Bridgerton, ugh, my girl, Kate, are chilling and talking about Lady Penwood's ball and how crazy that shit is. And they're like, man, should we go? Like, that's wild. Mm-hmm. And Penelope and Eloise are both basically like, no, fuck that. But then Kate's kindness comes through when she becomes even more even-keeled in her new role, right, as like Viscountess. She's like this voice of forgiveness regarding Cressida and her previous behavior. Sophie notes that Kate is incredibly kind and that she's stunning. That's just me. That's not Sophie. That's just me. Holy shit, she looks gorgeous. Like, I didn't think her like skin or her eyes could get prettier. I was wrong. Oh my God, she's so pretty. And she's wearing this like incredible sari inspired dress. It's obviously calling back to the trip they were just on back from India. It's blending this like Bridgerton blue with like the violets and purples that she was wearing. Like, it's so beautiful. She jokes that motherhood has made her kinder. And as she says that, we see Francesca's expression fall. Because what we know from a little bit of conversation we've caught between Francesca and John is that they haven't been able to get pregnant yet. John's like, girl, we've got all the time in the world. ... It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm.
And I think Kate harping on like forgiveness isn't brand new.
No.
We saw her in season 3 talk a lot about forgiveness to Colin when he was
mad at Penelope.
And that's part of Kate's arc as, Edwina's sister and everything that they went through. Mm-hmm. So much of her conflict was feeling like she was betraying Edwina and then wanting to earn her forgiveness and how hard it was.
And I think it's a little bit of like, even though she didn't necessarily acknowledge it at the time, like she had to forgive Mary for being a pretty absent parent.
Yes.
Obviously, she had to forgive Anthony for his treatment of her before they got together.
Of course.
And in some ways, forgive Edwina for being a bratty little bitch and for being a not amazing sister many times. Their forgiveness had to go both ways. Kate is very practiced as a character in like both giving and receiving forgiveness and understanding the value of it. Also how isolating it can be when everybody's fucking mad at you.
And also like always talking about change and how people can change for the better.
That feels very consistent with who Kate is and has been and how she's evolved. It's crazy how happiness makes you happier. I don't know. Mm-hmm. How it makes you like a better, kinder, more forgiving person. Little Edmund is brought into the drawing room by a maid, and everyone fawns over him, again, because he is the most gorgeous baby on earth. Eloise says, good day, like a fucking freak. That shit is so funny. Like, who looks at a baby and says, good day?
Good day, sir.
That was wild. I love her so much.
You would not think she has 2 younger siblings.
You wouldn't think she's been around children ever. A moment of her life. What? We see Benedict creeping outside the drawing room and watching this really nice scene, right? Where all of these women who are part of his family are fawning over the baby. And he's approached from behind by Lady Danbury, who is there to visit with the family and meet the future Viscount. Benedict confesses that he's avoiding his mother because they had a, quote, thorny encounter. Benedict, you yelled at your mom in like the most rotten fucking way. It was not thorny. You were mean to your mom. God, white people, man.
Rude. Should have got slapped.
Lady Danbury asks if he's actually just sad that he's no longer the spare.
Like,
Girl.
where did that come from?
What? I was like, have I seen this show before? Like, I felt so lost and weird. That line felt so fucking out of nowhere. But he admits to her that he was once afraid of what it would be like to no longer be next in line to the Viscount, but that now he approaches it differently. And Lady Danbury says, quote, love, end quote. Benedict is basically like kind of like love, like because you love your brother's son, right? Because you love your family. And Benedict's like, yo, chill. I don't even know that guy. I don't even know that
Which
baby.
was pretty funny.
Which did really make me laugh. It's so funny when people are like, I've never met that kid.
Love him. I don't know.
Love him.
I don't know him.
Benedict muses that maybe what he's feeling is envy, because the baby manages to bring the family so much joy. And Lady Danbury assures him that one day he will bring his family just as much joy, likely by marrying and reproducing in his own life. As they both watch the scene in the drawing room, Sophie enters the frame to tend to the baby and then turns to take her place at the edge of the room with all the maids. Benedict kind of seems to get a bit choked up, like watching her, and abruptly leaves.
The comment Lady Danbury made felt like so out of left
It
field.
felt like they cut out a scene.
Then I'm like, okay, all right, because maybe what we're communicating here is like there's this thing that's been bothering him and he couldn't name it until Lady Danbury named it. It's only started to be vocalized or verbalized in the past 15 minutes of this episode.
Paola, maybe we're dumb. Maybe we were watching a different show.
I'm dumb.
Benedict's not who we thought he was. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, do I need to fucking go back and rewatch the whole goddamn show? It's so
Maybe we've been
many
missing stuff.
episodes. Oh my God. Okay. Benedict leaves, giving her a very flimsy excuse and saying that he left his gift for the baby at his home, which is his bachelor lodgings. Whatever, dog.
Which is why he can't meet the baby.
Yeah,
he can't go.
He can't meet him because he's like, if I walk in there without a gift, he'll know. He'll tell other people. We cut from there to the next scene where Penelope and Eloise are discussing the new Lady Penwood, also known as Cressida motherfucking Cowper. Eloise is musing on whether Cressida was forced into her marriage. She's kind of recalling very vaguely what she saw of Cressida's interactions with her parents the previous season. And Penelope's like, you're so kind to be thinking about that. You know, always thinking of others. You know, Eloise, so kind, always thinking of others, unselfish. And no, bitch, Eloise is not kind. You guys are just friends and you love her, but she's not kind. And she was also very much not kind to her ex-girlfriend, Cressida. She was really mean to her. Guys, oh no. I cannot tell you how many comments about Eloise being queer Paola and I have collectively cut out of every Bridgerton episode. I make them all the time. Some might slide in every now and then. They're never meant to be offensive. They're just reflecting what I believe about Eloise as a character and her ex-girlfriend, Cressida Cowper. And Penelope says to Eloise, quote, have you forgotten how she tried to ruin you and your entire family last year? End quote. And what I say is, have you forgotten that she was in love with Eloise and none of us are talking about it?
I'm dead. I can't.
Eloise mentions that she thinks about that, the concept of Cressida trying to ruin the Bridgertons, less than she thinks of Cressida ruining Penelope's engagement party by pretending to be Lady Whistledown. Penelope says that she should have just let her assume the name since the queen refuses to let her quit. And Eloise says, in a rare moment of like actual empathy, so maybe she's like getting more mature, that the queen lives in a gilded cage and that Whistledown is the only way that she interacts with the outside world. I think that that's a bar. Like, that's a great line. Yeah, I don't think Eloise was the right person to deliver that line because I don't think Eloise is like that mature or empathetic yet, maybe.
I can see it in the sense that Eloise feels like she can relate to that feeling. That she can't do anything. Yeah. She can't do what she wants. She essentially can't leave her circumstances of comfort and richness because
Because society says she can't.
because society says she can't unless she's married. To me, it makes sense for Eloise to say that because I can see her feeling that way and relating to the queen in that way.
Meanwhile, the queen, when she thought Eloise was Lady Whistledown, like literally threatened to kill her. But anyway, I think she lives in a gilded cage.
We're all forgetting things, you know?
We're forgetting
We all
much.
have.
We're all really forgiving. And I think it's because of Kate. Penelope asks, when did Eloise start to feel bad for the queen? And Eloise responds sarcastically after everyone else in her life took a husband. And she says, to really drive the point home, quote, I am in my own gilded, unmarried Bridgerton cage. End
There you
quote.
go. Exactly.
We cut from that scene to Penelope having an audience with the queen at the palace. She apologizes to the queen for saying that she felt trapped by writing Whistledown because the real person who's trapped is the queen herself by the walls of the palace. And that Whistledown is a trap for the rest of society in the same way that the palace serves as a trap for the queen. We're doing like a lot. We're doing a whole lot.
That analogy
I did not like it.
didn't register with me.
Ugh.
I'm like, wait, what? Are we comparing articles to
To the what? To the monarchy?
like being the regent because her husband's like
Very
probably on his deathbed and very ill, and you're comparing that to writing about people? But the queen accepted it. It made sense to her.
The queen's like, damn, you're right.
It's like we're the same person.
Yeah. We're going through all of the same stuff. And you just really see me.
But I think the way this was delivered was to obviously give the queen some perspective on Lady Danbury's situation, right? Because in the way that Penelope says it, it's like, you know, would you not give society a reprieve from being watched and being told what to do? And I think Lady Danbury is who felt mostly identified with that speech. And I think it made the queen kind of look at that situation from a different perspective.
And Penelope's like, listen, like no one confides in me anymore because they're afraid that the gossip columnist is going to report on their gossip in her gossip column. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you reveal your identity. Like, are we okay?
Yo, the way we could have just gotten here, like naturally by not outing Lady Whistledown, the way we could have gotten to the same point by instead of Penelope having to quit because society found out, it's because of her own volition. She wants to focus on her own writing that doesn't have to do with the gossip column. She wants to write a book. She wants to whatever. Mm-hmm. And for that to happen in line with the book, whatever. Whatever. It didn't need to be this. It didn't need to happen.
I hated that they made her reveal herself.
Look, we know Nadhya definitely has a lot more feelings about season 3 than I do, and I have lots of them.
Just don't even talk to me. God.
Anyway, we haven't gotten there yet.
Fuck. Anyway. And yeah, basically Penelope's like, damn, wouldn't it be nice to let people live the lives they want without the burden of being watched all the time by Lady Whistledown? Hi. The queen looks meaningfully at Lady Danbury, who quickly glances away. The queen, I wanted to call out, is wearing this very deep, deep, dark blue in her Georgian court gown and like an enormous fucking wig. Lady Danbury is wearing this like...
And her wig's the shape of a heart.
Of course. Yeah, it has been a lot this season.
Not only is in a shape of a heart, but is in a shape of a heart made up of butterflies, which is
very Penelope coded.
Very significant because it's Penelope coming to her.
Lady Danbury in this scene is wearing this really gorgeous deep burgundy gown, and she's leaned over in her chair to the queen's right side, literally like her right hand woman. We cut from that scene to Cressida watching as the preparation for her ball goes up around her at Penwood House. There is garish, awful, bright, synthetic pink everywhere. So many bows, so much tulle. And she's like, yes, amazing. This totally matches my vision.
Beautiful. The way I love this for her.
Wow. It is so bright. It's so pink. And she's
so much.
She's living. Like, this is really doing it for her. We cut to Sophie getting Hyacinth ready for bed. And we see a fully dressed Eloise in a very bright blue sequined gown. Like, it is top to bottom sequined, which I found really interesting for Eloise. Clearly going out for a ball. She's in the doorway, and she interrupts and asks for Sophie's help. Hyacinth cuts her off, and she's like, excuse you. Sophie's busy with me. Scram. Eloise is like, all right, I've got a proposal for you, Hyacinth, if we'd like to be friends again, which I do, because this is getting awkward, and I don't want to court. And Eloise is like, what if we disguise you so that you can sneak into Cressida's ball? Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't that make me really cool as your big sister?
It perfectly parallels when we first saw them at the masquerade ball, where Hyacinth tries to sneak into the ball and Eloise does not let her. And I remember feeling like, why wouldn't you let your little sister, like, just keep an eye on her?
Yeah.
And let her have a good time.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I'll help you sneak into a ball.
Very full circle.
It's full circle, and also it's a softening Eloise, and Eloise embracing what Hyacinth enjoys. Because at the beginning, it's very much like, I don't enjoy this, so I'm going to stop you from enjoying this.
Right.
Now it's like, this is the thing you love to do. Let me help you.
Let me support you.
And not make it about her.
I thought that was very sweet.
I did love that as a sister moment.
So as they talk about, okay, we're going to disguise Hyacinth. What are we going to do? What should she wear? Sophie is like, I have an idea for how to disguise Hyacinth. I'm very good at this. I was the lady in silver. From there, we cut to Penelope at her dressing table, surrounded by copies of Whistledown. She's also clearly dressed and done up, for a night out. She looks very beautiful. As she looks in the mirror, we cut to this almost like identical, like seamless shot, honestly, of a very season 1 looking Penelope in this awful yellow dress, fiddling with one of her curls, terrible hairstyle, just the worst. They did such great work in making her less appealing, like in seasons 1 and 2, because Nicola Coughlan is so stunning that I'm like, I don't even know how you managed to do this, but I respect it.
That little flash when she looks in the mirror and like her seeing her younger self, her seeing her younger ambitions, and reflecting on like where she used to be and where she is now, that made me teary-eyed.
Oh yeah.
Also, her younger self looking forward, she accomplished things she never dreamt were possible for her. That shit hit me right
in the jugular.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, because you see how far she's come.
And also, I just love when it speaks to good filmmaking. Like, I love when it's like, oh, this fantastic shot that, and whether they filmed it in this season, they filmed it previously and were able to cut it in, like, great. Yum, 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 yum. I'm eating it up. It's just smart. You're bringing something fully all the way around. We're making reference to season 1. We're remembering that these characters existed before the moment in which we're seeing them. Like,
also, the symbolism of the mirror is so meaningful throughout her journey. One, how she perceived herself, how she was perceived by society, and how she concealed her identity for so long. She finally got to a place where she could see her inner self reflected on the outside.
The next line in my notes is, on the right day of the month, this could make me very emotional.
I definitely got teary-eyed.
Yeah.
This episode and the next episode, I cried.
No, yeah, I cried.
For sure.
Jesus. Penelope stands up from her dressing table and walks towards Colin, who's in their bedroom, who asks, "Are you ready, my love?" And they're very cute together. Gross.
Colin.
We cut to what must be Lady Penwood's ball, just like based on the amount of pink. You know what I mean? And there are strong shoulders left and right, ruffles everywhere. Okay, we are honoring our hostess. Many a puff sleeve are in attendance. So much pink, so much sparkle. And we hear someone say, quote, "Did you hear this ball is in the Queen's honor?" End quote. And that the other person responds, "Oh, and where is she?" Cunty mean. Alice Mondrich's plan is going swimmingly. We see an empty throne-like chair at the head of the room. No queen. We see a very sour-faced Araminta Gunn, right? She's walking into what used to be her family home, right? Because she was married to the Lord Penwood.
And she's seeing that shit overtaken by
That shit pink.
Pepto-Bismol.
That shit pink. And, you know, the Dowager Lady Penwood, Araminta Gunn, speaks to her daughters as they walk into the ball in Cantonese, according to the subtitles, right? The subtitles say they're speaking Cantonese. And they're just commenting on how bad they think the house looks, like without them living in it. Posey, in English, says she likes it. Again, because she's the only one worth a damn. And we see Penelope and the Bridgertons plus John Sterling clustered in a corner, chilling, vibing, hanging out, being cliquey. And Violet asks Penelope if she is truly okay with all of them attending, right? Because this is Cressida Cowper's ball and all the fucked up stuff she did. Penelope says yes. She's like, it's fine, I promise. And between Penelope and Colin, it looks like they've got something brewing. We see like a meaningful look pass between them. He asks where Eloise is, and we see Eloise arrive with a maid, a hyacinth-shaped maid in tow. Sophie has successfully made Hyacinth invisible by disguising her as a lady's maid for Eloise, and literally no one notices her at all. Hyacinth is floored, okay? She is truly admiring the general splendor. Like, this ball is everything to her. As they walk in, Cressida sees Eloise. Guys, if you tell me these women were not in a full-blown relationship last season, I would simply not believe you. The way
they look at each other.
The way they look at each other.
The way they look
I'm
at
like,
each other.
they must have made a pact, like the actresses in real life, to be like, I think we should make them gayer. Like, because no fucking way.
I can totally see that.
Just them being like, no, we should totally do that. We should do it.
I mean, but kind of mimics also too, like losing a friend, having an ex-friend.
Oh,
what
that
it
shit
feels like having
hurts.
a really close friend and then suddenly they're your ex-friend.
That shit hurts like a
It does.
bitch.
It almost hurts worse than a breakup.
Almost. Any friend breakup I've ever had has plagued me more profoundly than any breakup.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think that it also communicates that.
they like literally, they approach each other like scorned lovers.
They do, though. They do.
It's
the
wild.
gaze is so intense.
Oh my! And Cressida's entire face is just like, like, oh wow. And as this is happening, we see Violet making eyes at Lord Anderson from across the ballroom until he approaches her to try and set up another rendezvous for them to drink a little tea. She asks him instead, she's like, listen, dog, we should be meeting up for like actual tea because I need to continue our previous discussion, right? That was interrupted by Lady Penwood. Violet sees Benedict arrive at the ball and approaches him because it turns out we as the audience are now learning he has been avoiding her for almost 2 weeks, which is wild. He admits that he has been derelict in his family duties, and Violet says she hopes that he's decided to leave her, also known as Sophie, because it's more for her own sake rather than his. She is the one who stands to lose the most with any situation that she enters with Benedict, right?
She's trying to be a girl's girl.
Violet is very much a girl's girl, has been this whole time. Cut to Sophie in her bedroom, cradling her abdomen. Girl, you are the drama, okay? Because if I don't care how pregnant you are, it's been 3 weeks, okay? You've never had a late period. No one has PCOS, okay? And she pulls out the drawing Benedict gave her of my cottage, looks at it wistfully, right? Like, oh, wow. From there, we cut back to the ball. We see John and Francesca walking alone on the grounds of the Penwood estate, looking up at like a comically digitized moon. This is a reality TV show moon that they're looking at. Francesca is dressed in a gorgeous like white and silver gown, which I thought was like a very interesting vibe for her, right? And not because she doesn't wear light colors, but because there's been so much emphasis this season on silver, a silver gown. And the actress that plays her is so stunning. It's absurd. Like, she looks like she was plucked out of an old Hollywood movie. Like,
Hannah Dodd.
oh my God.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Oh my God. It's like offensive.
The smile with the pouty lips.
Her skin.
Her skin is flawless with her little mole. Yeah, no.
Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Leave. Jail.
Get out. Leave. Right now. It's the end of you and me. And they're standing together. John tells her that he can't stay silent. He has to tell her how much he loves her, which is so sweet. And
it's like, again, another full circle moment
Yeah.
to season 3.
Yeah. When they met.
And like, if you know what's coming, you're already.
You're bracing yourself.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes.
And he just tells her, he's like, listen, I love you so much. You're the perfect wife. And you know what? When the time comes, when the time is right, you will be a wonderful mother.
No.
He's such a green flag, like, of a person. It fucking makes me sick. Like, shut up. Ugh.
Like, stop it right now.
They're so fucking sweet. The scene is so sweet. Back in the main ball, it is becoming more and more obvious to the guests that the queen is not coming, right? It is getting later and later. The clock continues. Cressida is like starting to freak out, right? Because the shit is not going her way. She tells her husband, who has not spoken a single word, Lord Penwood, where? She has a blow-up doll. She has a mannequin of a man next to her. She's not even married, right? Like, the husband's fake. And she tells him that she's going to give a speech to distract the crowd. And as soon as she says that, we see Penelope nod at Alfie? What? They're in cahoots?
Not cahoots.
What? I'm so confused.
Was this through like Ray maybe? Ray made the connections with Alfie and it's like, hey, we're planning on doing this thing. Will you help us? So what we see happen at this ball is almost exactly what happens at the end of Colin and Penelope's book.
Yes.
Where she puts out the last article and within that article exposes herself and at the same time retires.
Yes. And time has passed. Like, Penelope in the books, when that happens, has been Lady Whistledown for years and years. Like, not
a decade almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, truly almost a decade. Back in the Penwood ballroom, we see a bunch of footmen who, upon Alfie's command, have started to walk through the ballroom distributing copies of Lady Whistledown to every guest. What we learn is that this will be Lady Whistledown's last issue. She will be resting her Penelope and will write the column no more. And everyone in the ballroom is fucking shook. It's shock and awe in there. Cressida laments that Lady Whistledown won't write about her ball. Because that's the first thing. She's like, fuck, Lady Whistledown's not even going to feature my ball. Like, if she's not going to write anymore, what the hell?
And then she looks at Penelope.
And then she looks at Penelope and out loud admits that it's probably for the best. And I don't know. In the spirit of people acting out of character as fuck.
In the spirit of forgiveness, Nadja.
Anyway, so...
My favorite reaction was Hyacinth. Because she's like, she's not gonna write about my debut.
Oh, that's
who's
so
gonna write
funny.
about my debut?
How will everyone know I'm the diamond? That's so funny.
How will everyone know I'm the diamond? Hello, because obviously I'm going to be the diamond.
I'm Hyacinth Bridgerton. Colin tells Penelope that he's proud of her, that, quote, it is done, end quote. And she responds, quote, it is almost done, end quote. Benedict creeps up behind maid Hyacinth and actual Eloise and says that he will keep their secret if they leave the ball expeditiously. Like, hey guys, cool, love that you were in cahoots, we were participating in shenanigans, the night's over now though, we're leaving. Araminta sees Benedict talking to a, quote, maid, it's Hyacinth, and asks who that is because they seem to be very familiar because they're fucking with each other, they're brother and sister. And then says, quote, well, we know it isn't Sophie, which is wild. But then it also makes Rosamond laugh because she's mean. And Posey says, well, we know she doesn't work here. And Araminta is like,
skirt.
skirt, skirt. She's way too sharp. Like, I've said this before, to be this mean, you have to be smart. And she's very smart. And she's very fucking mean. And she knows that Posey must know more than she is letting on about where Sophie might work. From there, we cut to Bridgerton House, where Sophie is watching Benedict, Hyacinth, and Eloise exit their carriage and enter the home. She's watching them from her window. Hyacinth is like floating on air. Like, she's just had the night of her life observing a ball. And Eloise actually seems content, which she never does after a ball. She usually seems miserable. And Benedict is called away from ascending the stairs by Antony's voice. He meets Antony in the study. And Antony, just like before when they were at White's, wastes no time. Quote, "You've been sitting here at my desk planning a life with her at my cottage." And of course, Benedict has to be a shit and be like, "It's actually my cottage. Shut up." This is like a new evolved type of Antony lecture, right? We've gotten many, many Antony lectures over the years. But he is genuinely trying to approach Benedict from a place of kindness and concern and like brother love, rather than the sheer need to control his surroundings, right? Typically,
That's not what I got. I got like father.
oh, I mean,
Anthony.
and older brother. I mean, those things blend together for me. My older brothers were my fathers, but
Yeah, but they're so close in age that for Benedict, it doesn't land like that.
I see what you mean. It's like too paternal. Like, we're acting like you weren't fucking and doing drugs.
Exactly.
Right along
You
with
acting
me.
like you didn't have me out here defending your ass. Like, you didn't have me out here covering for
In
you
these
when you were doing your
streets.
shit.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right.
And then now, oh, you brand new because you married and shit. Now,
And you have the world's most beautiful baby. You think just because of those facts that you can come to me?
and like you're gonna tell him what to do and threaten him with cutting him out of the family. And
Well, I guess it felt a little bit different than his approach with like Daphne or Bassett or
yeah,
like
more rigid. You're right. There's definitely a bit more like, I'm gonna give you a chance to think about this.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
a little less presumption. Like, it's a little bit less of like, what you're going to do is this and you're not going to do that. It's like, hey, I'm laying this out for you. Like, you've been fucking around. Here are the consequences.
Yeah.
Pretty much, obviously, everything is still your choice, but I hope you don't do that because I want you to be okay because you're my brother. That was kind of like my perception of it.
True. You're not wrong. Yeah.
And he reminds Benedict of all of the reasons that he shouldn't be with Sophie. Chief among them, that any children he has with Sophie won't be accepted by society and won't be part of the Bridgerton family in any official capacity.
And I think that that's the truest thing he said and the most impactful.
Yes.
I think for Benedict and for Sophie, who's overhearing outside of this room.
For Sophie, who is using this as an opportunity to eavesdrop, he says that they would be cast out. And Antony says he can't imagine bringing a child into the world under those conditions, knowing that they'll never be able to have a claim to their actual family. They won't be able to have legitimacy. Who knows what that means for them financially? Who knows what that means for their prospects, who they're able to marry, etc. And Antony tells Benedict, I should cut you off, right? Like, you're fucking around so fucking hard. I should be cutting you off, but I have faith. This part was very condescending. I agree. I have faith in you to make the right decision. Don't make me regret it.
You know, to me, as I'm watching this, I'm like, I think everyone's underestimating Benedict's willingness to live outside of society.
I agree. I think it's like you said, I think it's the children. The threat of his children not being able to live the type of life that he's familiar with.
He might not mind that for himself. Do I have to work? Okay, maybe we'll be a working family. But I think the reality of I'm imposing this on any children I might have.
Mm-hmm. And cut from there to Sophie in distress, right? In her own bedroom. Mm-hmm. She takes the sketch that Benedict gave her of my cottage. She balls it up, throws it into the fire. We then see Sophie pick up an envelope that is addressed to Penwood House. That's clearly meant to be like her letter of introduction from Lady Bridgerton. Now she's like, okay, full on. I am decisively leaving the Bridgerton home now that I've heard this conversation between Benedict and Antony, right? Like, I can't do this. And we see her suddenly looking down, and she's making kind of an aborted movement towards her abdomen with her hands. Has she just gotten her period? Or is the baby kicking, which is more likely? I'm joking. It's just something in movies and TV that always like drives me nuts. Again, Sophie would be max 4 weeks pregnant, also known as before you know and before any visible changes happen to your body. But we're like holding our abdomens already.
You kind of do it instinctively. It's almost like a visualization exercise, but it is very dramatic when they do it in shows and movies.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
It really is. With the music and the zoom in and
Like, guys, we are being extra. We cut to the Queen's Palace from there. This palace is like fucking stunning. Like, we're here at night, which we very rarely ever are. And all of the flowers and the candles and statues, it's like lush. It looks gorgeous in there. Production design Emmy, when? Okay. We see Penelope talking to Lady Danbury and the Queen. Again, the Queen is wearing this blue gown. A shit ton of butterflies are decorating her wig, as Paola mentioned. That's very Penelope coded. The Queen asks how everyone reacted to her last issue of Whistledown. Penelope lets her know that it threw the ball into disarray. And the Queen replies, quote, "Just as I hoped, you have upstaged Lady Penwood," end quote. And is that it now?
Well, I think that you're aware they came to an agreement that was going to be her last written Whistledown article.
It just felt so like small potatoes to be like, for your last Whistledown article, fuck with Lady Penwood.
It seems like small potatoes compared to her reaction in season 3.
Yes.
To Lady Whistledown's identity.
Correct.
But like you were saying, the butterflies in her hair, something that butterflies symbolize is evolving and change and growth and stages. And I think that maybe this is also symbolizing like her, the Queen, evolving in changing her perspective and changing what she's demanding of people around her.
This is why we watch shows together. The Queen says, quote, "I am interested to see what you will write next, and you will bring me gossip from time to time."
Can you be my next Lady Danbury as well, where you can come and gossip with me?
And this is like so sad. That made me so sad. Of just
like, bring me news from the outside world.
Literally.
Yes.
Like, you know how I can't mingle with you guys, like the normies? Like, why can't you just tell me what's happening every now and then? Just like deliver it. And Penelope agrees. Yes, of course. Also, you're the Queen. Of course I will do that. And the Queen very kindly dismisses her. After Penelope is left, as Lady Danbury moves to leave, the Queen calls her back. She stands, and with a tearful expression on her face, she just looks at Lady Danbury, who starts to cry. And Lady Danbury, no words, bows her head and says, "Thank you," before turning to leave. And that did make me cry, folks.
I cried.
I cried
too. And then she turns and they pan out and you see the portrait.
Oh my God, of the ladies
like,
in waiting.
The ladies in waiting with young Agatha and young Charlotte. Also, their acting is phenomenal.
They're so
no words needed to be exchanged for you to feel that goodbye.
They're so good.
I'm
so
freaking getting emotional now. Yeah.
They're so good. And with that, the Queen has not only freed Penelope from the shackles of delivering gossip, right? But she has freed Lady Danbury from her post at the Queen's side. This is the response, right, to Lady Danbury's question at the start of the season, right? Like, I'd like to travel back to my ancestral home. Now she's allowing it. And so that's very, very emotional for them. It's a big evolution, big butterfly moment.
It's also her letting go of her crutches and having to deal with what she's surrounded by. Her escapism is Lady Whistledown and conversations she has with Lady Danbury. And she's letting those things go and facing the fear of being alone, which is something that she expresses early on in the season.
Yeah, she's being surprisingly brave. And we cut to the interior of the Sterling home where John, Michaela, and Francesca are completing a puzzle together, which is just like a precious activity. And John says he completed the ground, and Michaela protests that she completed the sky. And you can't have a complete image of one without the other. Very symbolic dialogue here.
First of all, John completing the ground. Okay.
And God.
Him,
completing the ground.
And the sky, which obviously symbolizes freedom, future,
opportunity,
flights, opportunity. And then saying you can't have one without the other speaks to a future Francesca having to accept that you couldn't have one love story without the other love story. It's just, this whole freaking end of this episode is just like coming for my neck.
Oh. This and the next episode especially, fucking brutal. And at this point, they're looking at the puzzle. John and Michaela place the last puzzle piece together. That's their compromise. And John says he is going up for a nap because he has a headache. Because of his duties at Parliament, no doubt. And everybody's like, oh man, Parliament's been running you ragged. Go have some rest. Take a nap. And Francesca agrees to wake him before dinner that same evening, right? He watches with satisfaction as Michaela and Francesca discuss, can we do another puzzle? What other kind of leisure activity are we going to do together?
Mind you, that's the thing Michaela kind of made fun of her for.
Having her puzzles organized.
Having her puzzles organized. And now Michaela's like, oh, can we do another puzzle? So that's another instance of you seeing them rubbing off on each other.
We cut from there to the drawing room at Bridgerton House, where Violet is wearing a very uncharacteristic bright pink gown with what resembles a cape at the back of her shoulders and very few embellishments. It's like quite a simple gown. She looks beautiful, but this is like a very new color on her, right?
So two things I thought here. First, because of what takes place in this scene, it's like this openness for love. On the rewatch though, I'm like, are they showing us that she's out of character?
Initially I was like, because Danbury House, people who have stayed at Danbury House, people who are associated with Lady Danbury,
that's true,
do a lot of red.
That would be also spot on.
So that's what I thought, because I was like, earlier in the season, we've seen her wear like blush pink, which is very, as you said, unlike her, like out of her palette. But I think it's while she's having a walk with Lady Danbury. So like she's wearing like this really nice blush pink. It's like friendship color. And now she's wearing like this more striking, intense pink. And it's like, ooh, maybe it's a love color.
Yep.
So I thought that was interesting. Cool. I also thought the lack of embellishment was interesting too. And Mrs. Wilson announces the arrival of Lord Anderson to the Bridgerton drawing room. He, by contrast to what Violet is wearing a baby blue cravat.
Oh, Violet's color or the Bridgerton color.
Correct.
Your theory definitely sticks, where they're like taking from each other.
Yeah. So he walks in and Violet's like kind of nervous, but she's basically like, yo, what the fuck is up? Are we making this shit official or not?
What the fuck is up?
What the fuck is
Lord
up?
Anderson.
And Lord Anderson is like, girl, I want to make this official as fuck. Like, I thought you wouldn't be down for that. I'm down for that. Wouldn't it be so sick if we got married? I'm not going to try to replace your husband. I'm not going to try to separate you from your children. As a matter of fact, I love you. Let's get married. I just want to get married. I just want to get married.
Meet me at the altar in your
white dress. Your blush dress. I hate you.
We ain't getting no younger. We
might as well do it. Girl, you are a wild one. I must confess. Let's get married. I just want to get married. It's so funny. But Violet says, yes, motherfucker. Let's get married. Get that garden watered.
Quote, unquote.
I was going to be so gross. I was going to say get it wet. Anyway, so
we ain't getting no younger.
We
might as well
do it. She says yes. I will admit that her yes felt a little anticlimactic. It just felt a little bit like a...
The scene felt anticlimactic for a moment.
This big. Thank you.
For a character this important.
Yes. It felt like
So that's a sign.
like if the wrongness of it is a sign.
Yes.
Because you're like, by all like,
Yes, like I would be, yes, we would love to see that because we think that's what Violet wants. We think that's what's going to make her happy because that's what she's communicating.
Exactly. And we cut from that, you know, that very tender and sweet scene to a gloomy daytime shot at the conservatory where Benedict built his blanket fort for Sophie. And she has beckoned him there this time to let him know that she plans to take a position at Penwood House if it's offered to her, which she thinks it will be, and that she is not in fact pregnant. So when we saw her kind of in that previous scene where she looked a little startled, it is because she got her period. Benedict is like, cool, ... but I still want to take care of you. Like, can you not leave? Like, it wasn't necessarily about you being pregnant. I just want to be with you. She tells him that he doesn't owe her anything, but he rejects the idea of owing because it's actually just about love. That's why he wants to take care of her. Very noble, our Benedict. And Sophie's like, girl, I don't want to ruin your family and fuck all your shit up. I don't know if you were there, but I overheard that conversation you had with Anthony. The shit sounded rough. And they both get like pretty emotional, and Benedict starts to cry, like, you know, pretty openly, which I always admire, like when a male character is like,
I cried with Benedict in the scene.
yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. When he started with the shaky lip, I'm like, fuck, here I go.
It's so funny. The
Here I
quiver.
go. The quiver got me.
Luke Thompson is like a really talented actor.
He portrays vulnerability really nicely.
Yeah.
Really well. Also, the thing that got me that Sophie said was, you know, if only love was enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, along those lines.
Unfortunately, many of us know that it is not, in fact, enough. And as he's emotional, he says, you know, he still wants to take care of her. Like, she could work at Bridgerton House. Like, it could be okay. And she says that they would be too tempted and repeat the same mistake they'd already made, which was fucking. And
definitely got pregnant.
And definitely next time. This time was a fluke. He implores her not to call what happened between them a mistake. Which I have to respect. That's such a trope that always gets me. Like when something happens between the love interests and one of them was like, it was a mistake, and because it's always like the other one is either like fake nonchalant and is like, yeah, you're totally right, it was a mistake, or they lean in and they're like, no, it was exactly what I wanted, it was the best. Yes. I love that shit.
Love that shit.
And they embrace briefly as they both cry, because this is their goodbye now, right? And Sophie leaves him in the conservatory alone. We see her enter her room, close the door behind her, and immediately crumple down in tears. Not great. Doesn't bode well. The end of this episode's feeling pretty weird, okay? We cut to our final scene, which is Francesca at her house, the Sterling house, entering the bedroom where John has been taking a nap. And the vibes are pretty fucking weird, you guys. Like, the lights are kind of medium. Francesca she's great. Like, she's vibing, bobbing, weaving, having a great time. And she's trying to chat with John, assuming that he is not answering her because he's still asleep. So she goes to wake him up as dinner approaches. She tells him, dinner's almost ready. You wanted me to wake you. Doing that puzzle was like so fun and kick-ass, and we're all best friends. Everything feels good and also great. The future is vast, unending, and I'm optimistic about it. I can't wait for us to grow very old together.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what she said.
Yep. John does not reply.
And with all this positive outlook, you knew exactly what was going to happen.
Fucking brutal. The lighting, the color of the room, like everything is just wrong. Francesca heads over to the bed because she's like, man, wakey, rise and shiny, sleepyhead. God, you've slept through my whole monologue about how awesome everything is. And she heads over to the bed to wake him, finds that he will not rouse. John will not wake up.
And you don't see him. You don't even see him in this scene.
But I'm glad.
And I'm so grateful. The focus is really on like the impact this has on Francesca, right? Because also that's the continuation of the story is how she deals with this loss. And that works so well.
And we see Michaela, who is waiting patiently in the drawing room, right, so that they can all head down to dinner together, only to stand in alarm when we hear Francesca gutturally scream from the bedroom in what the subtitles describe as a wail. And Michaela stands up, and we see her kind of like slow-mo start to move out of the drawing room.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the episode.
Then the camera settled on a portrait of John and Francesca sitting in their sitting room, literally in the same seat where we see Michaela rise from, is where John and Francesca are sitting in that portrait that they painted. And then the camera rests there and cuts to black.
Fucking brutal.
I do have to commend the way that like they chose to do this sequence, because there's so many ways you could have done this sequence. You could have gone like everybody runs to John and now Michaela and Francesca are wailing over John's body in this room, or they're trying to wake him up, shake him. You know, they could have done so many things. There could have been so much movement, but they chose to go with less movement. Focus on the reaction of the characters whose story we're going to see continue. And then to end on the portrait of John and Francesca on the settee, where like they tried to reconnect their intimacy earlier on in the season, and where they sit and have their tea, like I thought was symbolic also to the steadiness of their relationship.
Yeah, I think it was really tasteful and also very like respectful of John as a character. I feel like you can kind of tell that the writers care about his character and the way his character is represented a lot, and have like a lot of like delicacy for it. It was very well done. Yeah, that's the end of episode 6, and all we have left, sister, is our episodes 7 and 8. And then we'll be back in 2 years for season 5.
Well, they're already filming season 5.
That's crazy.
They are already filming season 5.
No le
We
tengo mucha
already know who the
confianza.
leads are, and it's gonna be Francesca and Michaela. This ending definitely sets you up for that. It sets you up for their story.
Yeah.
So, you know, after this episode on the rewatch, and after knowing that they're gonna be the leads, you pay attention to how Michaela shows up for Francesca, how Francesca responds to Michaela trying to comfort her and also deal with her own grief, and how they help each other out through that, and how that can possibly evolve into something more. So it's interesting to watch after this. It's also super emotional, which gives it that much more depth. So yeah, I cried through this episode.
I cried.
The last 15-20 minutes.
Episode 6 and 7 had me fucked up.
Yeah, when you hear us talking shit about this season,
It's not about this part.
don't let us forget that it made us cry. It made us cry and love and feel.
I really do think that they had a lot of tact with like the parts to do with grief and death.
They really did.
More so than other storylines. I feel like this storyline feels so raw and like fleshed out, and the other storylines just kind of feel like the little kind of like meh.
It made them feel frivolous.
Yeah.
Because here you are dealing
does.
with like a real life thing. Yeah.
Death.
It really does. And I think that it even does that to Benedict and Sophie.
Yeah.
Everything kind of halts. And it's like, well, this isn't the important thing right now. We see that through their characters, where it's like there's a refocus and a recentering of like, okay, well, what's really important? It's family. And how do I show up for my family in the best way I can? And you see that from Benedict, which is part of his arc, always being there for his family. So we see that coming up in episode 7.
We do.
Yeah. So, you know, stick with us. We're almost there. We wanted to be done by the end of June.
Badly.
But here we are.
Not done.
We tried to combine episode 5 and 6 and episode 7 and 8 so that it would only be 2 episodes and we would definitely be done by June, but that didn't happen. But here we are. We're here to chit chat and yeah, talk shit for a lengthy amount of time.
For lengthies.
For a lengthy amount of time. And, you know, just stick with us. In the meantime, I'm going to make Nadhya watch Off Campus with me soon. And me and her are going to sit down and sob at watching voicemails for Isabel. And so I'm going to try to get that
on camera
and throw it on Patreon.
That's fucked up. Fucked up. Well, thank you for that threat. All right, guys. Thank you so much. If you stuck through this entire episode, if you've listened to our painstaking, slow crawling Bridgerton coverage, thank you for being here. As always, we might be a little slow to respond on social media, but we love your DMs. Love your emails. We'd love to hear from you about anything at any time. And as always, if you like what you've heard and you want to hear more, please leave a review anywhere you get your podcasts. Find us on Instagram at sisflixpodcast. Shoot us an email at sisflixpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions or movie requests for us to cover in the future, please leave a rating or review anywhere. Anywhere at any time, really. Good, bad, ugly, in between, like whatever. We just want to know what you think. And yeah, thank you so much again. Thank you always.
Thank you for listening.
Join us back.
Bye.
Bye.